Did you know many creeks on the Coosa, and even the name Coosa itself, are all Muskogee Creek words? For instance, Wetumpka is Creek for rumbling waters, Choccolocca is for muddy waters, and Coosa means canebrake. The early history of the Coosa begins with the fight for control over the resource-rich Coosa Valley. Chief Tuscaloosa and Hernando de Soto fought at the Battle of Mabila, which was narrowly won by the Spaniards. This conflict is still known as one of the bloodiest battles in history.
In the 1700s, the French established Fort Toulouse at the confluence of the Coosa and Tallapoosa. During the 1800s, river towns along the Coosa River were established. These early towns never flourished due to navigational difficulties, especially those like the infamous Devil's Staircase, where Jordan Dam now sits. However, after the arrival of the first steamboat in 1845, steamboats ruled the Coosa. Over 30 steamboats flourished from 1845 to 1930. The steamboats were responsible for the growing economic impact in both Rome, Georgia, and Gadsden, Alabama, and their respective regions. These steamboats carried critical resources such as cotton, poultry, lumber, and they were also used as social venues for both drinking and dancing. The United States eventually canceled all mail contracts with steamboats and turned them over to railroads. As other means of transportation became readily available, fewer and fewer people were worried about opening the Coosa to navigation. Competition from railroads created a hopeless cycle with steamboats, and by the late 1930s, only a few steamboats were left on the Coosa. America's favorite spinach-eating sailorman should be no stranger to the folks of the Coosa. Tom Sims, a Coosa River native, was inspired by Thimble Theater and the Coosa River to create Popeye the Sailor Man. He wrote most of Popeye in Ohatchee, Alabama, and is quoted as saying, "As a boy, I was raised on the Coosa River. When I began writing the script for Popeye, I put my characters back on the old Leota that I knew as a boy, transformed it into a ship, and made the Coosa River a salty sea." In the 19th century, a man named William Patrick Lay was reimagining other uses for the Coosa, and in his words, putting loafing streams to work. The age of electricity was dawning, and Lay was one of Alabama's pioneers in the field. William Patrick Lay began producing hydroelectric power at a plant on Big Wills Creek, a Coosa tributary. The venture prospered, leaving the avid Lay hungry for more profits by harnessing power from the Coosa. Lay found two major partners, James Mitchell for financial support and Thomas Martin for legal support. Together, the group began work on the site of Old Lock Number 12. By 1914, Lay Dam was complete. Turbines at the Old Lock 12 were generating power, and electricity was humming across transmission lines to sites as far away as Birmingham. When the turbines began spinning and electricity began to flow from the powerhouses to farms, towns, and cities, Alabama moved from the 19th into the 20th century. In 1923, construction of Mitchell Dam was completed, and in 1929, it was joined by Jordan Dam, which flooded the Coosa's most infamous rapids, the Devil's Staircase. On November 12, 1953, Alabama Power filed an application with the Federal Power Commission for a preliminary permit for a multi-dam project on the Coosa. The company would invest $100 million to build 5 dams on the river. The project would be completed in no more than 10 years. Now things began to move fast and furiously. Weiss Dam was brought on the grid in 1961, Logan Martin in 1964, and Neely Henry in 1966. Constructed in remote areas of the state, the dams were unique projects, yet they all had elements in common. The company had to build transportation networks to get men and material to the site. Male workers, regardless of skill, race, and color, were recruited, brought in, housed, and fed. When wives and children joined the men, worker camps became towns with schools, churches, medical clinics, and recreational facilities. These towns were once a reflection of their culture and a look into the future that electricity would make possible. You'll learn in later videos that the damming of the Coosa created reservoirs that we all know and love today, but also created significant ecological disaster too.